There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the pain becomes unbearable, when the patterns we keep repeating finally start to feel like cages built not by the world, but by the mind itself, enclosing us in stories of fear, failure, and forgotten truths. We blame fate, circumstance, even the people around us, desperately seeking someone or something to carry the weight of our unspoken suffering. But few ever dare to ask the real question that haunts their solitude. Why do I keep suffering in the same way, over and over, no matter how far I run or how deeply I deny it? You see, the cycle of emotional pain is not sustained by external events or cruel twists of fate. It is sustained by our silent agreements to remain blind, to resist the journey inward, to flee from the parts of ourselves that hold the keys to liberation. Not the outside world, but the hidden world we carry in silence, our forgotten dreams, our repressed fears, our buried grief. This is what keeps us circling the same heartbreaks. What you resist does not vanish. What you resist persists, and it multiplies in shadows. Until you are willing to face the unconscious, until you are brave enough to bring into the light what you have hidden in darkness for years, your life will continue to echo old wounds. Different faces, same betrayal. Different years, same void. We do not suffer endlessly because life is inherently cruel. We suffer because we continually reject the deeper message within the pain, the sacred invitation to grow, to transform, and to finally awaken to the deeper self waiting patiently beneath the masks. There is a spiritual principle that breaks this ancient cycle of suffering. A principle so powerful, so profoundly transformative, that it is often ignored not because it is hidden, but because it is hard, because it demands something terrifying of us, responsibility. This principle is not found in avoidance or distraction. It is found in stillness. It says, you are not merely the victim of your pain. You are its student. And if you stop running and begin listening, if you learn the lesson, the pain will no longer bind you, it will set you free. But to learn, you must first listen deeply. You must stop silencing your inner world and begin paying attention. Listen to your fears. They are not enemies. They are roadmaps showing you where your soul has been silenced. Listen to your anger. It reveals where your boundaries were crossed, where you lost your voice. Listen to your jealousy. It reveals your unlived potential, the desires you disowned. Every emotion, no matter how uncomfortable or dark, is a divine message from your soul, and the soul never lies. The great task of old age is not to pretend we are still young or to cling to fading illusions, but to become deeply wise, to become finally real. And wisdom does not come from reading books or gathering facts. Wisdom is born when you stop fleeing the truth of who you are, when you meet your reflection in silence and dare to see your wholeness. Many people reach the end of their life having mastered every role: parent, partner, professional, yet they have never met themselves. They have lived on the surface, but they have not lived deeply. And so they grow old, but not deep. They accumulate years, but not wisdom. Spiritual growth does not ask you to escape suffering or pretend all is well. It asks you to extract the meaning, to let the fire of your pain forge something unbreakable in you. When you face your suffering without resistance, without stories, without running, it begins to change. What once haunted you becomes your teacher. What once broke you becomes the reason you rise with strength you never imagined. You begin to understand something radical. The events did not hurt you. Your interpretation did. The past did not destroy you. Your attachment to it did. And slowly, as you observe the pain, instead of becoming it, you find space. You find breath. You find power. From that awareness, liberation is born. Not in the absence of pain, but in the presence of truth. The true self is not damaged by pain. It is revealed by it. And the sacred task of aging and suffering is this: to strip away everything false and leave behind only what is real. What is eternal? What is soul? Most people avoid their pain like it's poison. They run toward pleasure, toward achievement, toward noise. But if you are brave, if you stop and breathe into the ache, if you choose silence over escape, you will hear something ancient stir within you. A whisper from the depths of your being. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. That whisper is the beginning of everything. Let it guide you. Let it break every chain you thought you needed. Because once you accept that your pain is not punishment, but preparation, you are no longer trapped. You are transforming. Transformation does not come by accident. It begins with brutal honesty. The kind of honesty that burns. You must ask yourself what you've avoided, who you've blamed, what parts of yourself you've buried under shame. Most emotional pain is not the result of life, but the result of refusal. Refusal to grieve. Refusal to forgive. Refusal to feel. And every time we refuse to feel, we choose to suffer. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is prolonged by our resistance. You wear your pain like armor because it once protected you. But that armor is now keeping love out, connection out, life out. There is no evolution without surrender, no freedom without responsibility. As long as you believe your suffering is someone else's fault, you remain powerless. But when you claim your pain, when you hold it in your hands like sacred fire, you begin to transmute it. You become the alchemist of your own soul. This is the journey of the awakened one, not the perfect, not the enlightened, but the one who chooses to feel it all, who chooses the inner path when the outer world fails, who sits with sorrow and turns it into strength, who faces the darkness and walks through it without looking away. That is courage. That is transformation. The soul does not care about your comfort. The soul is only concerned with your evolution. And evolution is never easy. It stretches you. It breaks you open. It calls you beyond everything you thought you knew. But it also gives you something priceless. It gives you yourself. Not the self you perform for others, but the self that lives beneath the stories, the wounds, the masks. The moment you begin to see your pain as purposeful, everything changes. The pain becomes the compass, and slowly it points you back to yourself. In time, you will not hate your pain. You will bow to it, because it was never here to hurt you. It was here to wake you. Wake you from the trance of pretending. Wake you from the slumber of survival. Wake you to the deep truth. You were never broken. Only buried. Only waiting. Wake up. Wake up to your worth. Wake up to your voice. Wake up to the love you kept locked away. The spiritual principle that ends the cycle of emotional pain is simple. Face it. Don't flee it. The healing is not somewhere else. It's here. Now, inside you. Feel everything. Avoid nothing. That is the doorway to true freedom. That is where the old identity dissolves and the soul finally breathes. That is where the cycle ends. And the real journey begins